are starting on a nice long vlogging project for 2023, wherein I'm going to be reading the wrapped books that I wrapped at the end of 2022. So I did a little cozy vlog of me wrapping 30 books that I have interest in, I want to read, that is why they have not been unhauled, but I just keep not making time to read them. So I thought that by wrapping them, it may give me a little bit more kind of verb freshness around reading them, and therefore I thought it would help me actually get to them. So what I did in that video, sneaky me, was I asked you guys for ideas about ways to use the wrapped books. And I threw out a few ideas, and then I asked if you guys had other ideas. And what I'm going to do is every month I'm going to use a different idea from the comments or one that I mentioned, and we'll pick a different book or books, depending on the prompt of how we're gonna pick them. We'll pick different ones every month. So yeah, I'm thinking that I'll probably do this for, I don't know, like 10-ish months to get through as many ideas as I can. My goal is that by the end of the year, I would love to have gotten through 25 of them and then do like one last vlog unwrapping the last 5, like have that be a separate video. That's kind of my idea. So we'll see how this progresses. Okay, things that I want to keep track of. I want to see how many of these I DNF, because I think that will be a valuable statistic to take into future thoughts about unhauling things. I want to see how many of them are big hits and how many of them are like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I've been sitting on this book in my TBR for so long and I loved it. Like, I think that would be a good thing to measure. And then also just how many of them were mid, because that's what I'm afraid of / what I suspect will happen, is that a lot of them are just going to be fine. And I don't know. We'll talk about it, I guess, at the end. We'll see how this goes. Later in 2023, Mara, you can kind of fill in the gaps. But what I'm curious about is how many books am I getting? Because they sound good, and they probably are good, but they're not great. And then I'm just letting them linger on my TBR for a long time. That's what I'm afraid is gonna happen. And if it does, I think that may inspire me to do a more harsh culling of my TBR. So with that being said, let's see what we're doing for the first month. Take it away. Hello. Today we are doing our first book. Oh, sorry, trying to get the camera going here. Also, Marple is not happy with me. What else is new? It's that time of day. So, our first book we're picking is based on a comment I got suggesting that I use the day of the month to pick a book. Also, as you can see Jess in the background, getting my day going here, and I've got her on to keep me company. So basically the person, I believe, said something to the effect of, like, whenever you're in the mood to add something to your TBR, whatever day of the month it is, that's the book you should pick. I'm assuming that they suggested that because there's 30 books, so, you know, aligns well with monthness. So I don't know if you guys can see this, hopefully. It is the 9th day of January. So this is my first book, and I went and dug it out from the pile, which I also did some strategic rearranging when I did that because this was hard to get out. But this is the book we are going to add to the TBR for the month. And I'm so excited because I can already feel the like serotonin hit coming because I'm going to unwrap something. So this is very exciting. Okay. Ooh, okay. Well, I will say that this is one of the most like egregious things I've not read based on my love of Jane Eyre, and that is The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. Now, Rachel Hawkins, I have read one book from her that I really enjoyed. I just thought it was really fun. Reckless Girls last year. I thought that was really fun. I had the opportunity to get The Villa, but it didn't sound as much like my thing, which is her release this year. So I didn't get The Villa this year, but The Wife Upstairs, I believe, is like a modern thriller take on Jane Eyre, and it's gotten very mixed reviews, so I don't know how I'll do with it, and I just kept never prioritizing it, but I will now. Ooh, it's set in Alabama. Interesting. Okay, we'll see how I do with this, but I already love this unwrapping thing. That was so exhilarating. So we have finished the first one, The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. It is a very page-turnery, entertaining domestic suspense kind of book, but I'm a hard sell on domestic suspense. I do have ones that I really enjoy. Like, I have enjoyed domestic suspense quite a bit, but this was just not my trope combo. And while it was very entertaining, I just didn't feel like there was enough there to overcome me not loving the trope combo. So the thing that I did find interesting is that this is a reinterpretation of Jane Eyre. And I think as a reinterpretation of Jane Eyre, it's very interesting. I don't know that it was like amazingly successful at it, but I appreciated that it was a perspective. So I really liked some of the side characters in here, like Adele I thought was very clever. There's a few of them that I saw it and was like, oh, okay, I like how you're interpreting this particular character. So while I wouldn't say this is a favorite, I would say that I'm glad I read it because I'm always down for a retelling, and I'm particularly down for a retelling of my all-time favorite books. So glad I read it, even though ended up being a 3-star, and I am not disappointed that I held on to it for as long as I did, though I do plan to unhaul this. So that was my first book. This month I looked at the comments and the first one I noticed was a random number generator. Now I am gonna have to put some parameters on this random number generator because I've already used one of the numbers and then I already know what I'm gonna do next month, and there's like a range of numbers that it can't be. So I don't know what it's gonna be here, but the generator, and the number is 29. So let's go find whatever that is. That's not in the range of numbers I was worried about. Okay, come on, lucky 29. Oh, look how conveniently this was just sitting right here on top. Wow, truly, we have fate helping us out today. Let's come unwrap this little bookaroo here. It feels, part of the joy I have is that I'm truly well enough away from when I did this to have zero idea of what this book might be. So feels like a paperback, like a trade paperback of some kind. So let's see. Can I say that the endorphin rush of unwrapping these is truly very exciting? Okay, it's yellow. Oh, I think that this is Alicia Rise. Oh, no. Okay, it's not. Haha. The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. This should be fun, jolly japes, and I'm expecting that I will have a good time with this. Okay, good. I'm glad this worked out the way it did, actually, because the rest of my month's TBR for February, I could use some more like lightness. And I remember when this came out, a lot of people were recommending this to me. So I am very excited that that was the outcome. So I'll come back next month and tell you how it went. So checking in for this guy, DNF'd. Not because it was terrible, but because I don't think it was enough of a romance. The back is talking all about this dude, Tom. I think maybe Tom got mentioned in passing at the 90% mark, but where's Tom? Where's the romance? Where's the beef? I wanted a romance. This is very well written and it seems like a kind of a lighthearted family woman's journey kind of book. Great, love that for it, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted a romance. So DNFing, and am I glad I held on to it? No, like I could have just unhauled this. So yeah, that's too bad. Okay, moving onwards. For this month, I saw somebody put a comment saying I could do like an advent calendar situation. And I wouldn't want to do that for a full month though. If I could truly commit to reading a book a day for a whole month, that might be cool, but I just don't know that that's achievable. But I have a long weekend coming up, and well, the reason I decided to do this over the long weekend is because I don't know what's gonna come up. So I know that the dates are gonna be the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. So that will be books 3 through 6. I haven't looked. I don't know, like if one of those is the Kin Leo one. That's gonna be tough to read that in one day, but I'm at least like more likely to do that on a long weekend. Just a random day of the week. So yeah, we're gonna see. This is gonna be a very interesting experiment. I'm not sure how it's gonna go if we get some of the chunky, like more difficult to read ones. So I'm hoping for like maybe some, I'm trying to think what all, this is the beauty of this. I don't even fully remember what all is in this wrapped pile at this point because it's been long enough. But I'm hoping for maybe like some mysteries, some romance, some maybe like lighter speculative things if I've got that in there. If there's like a shorter nonfiction, which I think there might be a couple of those, that could work. Like we'll see. But if it's like, I remember that the biggest three are the autobiography of Malcolm X, the Jim Butcher one, and the Ken Leo one. So I'm rooting against those three, but any of the other ones I think we can try to make work. So that's going to be the plan for this coming weekend. So I will see you back when I start unwrapping. Okay, let's find day 3. Haha, 3. Got it. A fun time trying to find that one later. Okay, let's just go ahead and open up this bad boy. You can see it's number 3. It's giving trade paperback. It's giving bright yellow. Is this the Alicia Rye? Yeah, okay. First comes light. This is what I thought the Nina Hill one was. Okay, so this is the third book in a contemporary romance series, and I enjoyed the first 2. I expect I'm gonna enjoy this one, and this actually works out well for a weekday because it should be pretty easy breezy, pretty light to get through. Yay, this was a good one. Okay, checking in with you guys. I've had a busy 24 hours of finishing up work for the week, and then I've been doing like reading, chores, cleaning, hair, body, everything, house. So yeah, Jersey Shore, gym, tan, laundry, 30-something YouTuber, chores, cleaning, reading. So with that being said, I am so excited to report that I thought this was delightful. This book it made me realize something about contemporary romances. I realized that there's kind of like 2 approaches one could take at this point with a contemporary romance. One route you could take is trying to go realism. And I think that is the far more difficult route. And I think that's mostly the world Alicia Ray, or sorry, I always want to call her Ray, but it's Ray. Alicia Ray, that is the far more difficult route, and that is where Alicia Ray tends to live. Where she has maybe some like preposterous setups, but her characters respond in rational ways that, you know, an adult today would. So that's more difficult, and I have way fewer authors who I enjoy who go that route. Like Alyssa Cole, I feel like lives in that world. Oh God, in contemporary, who else is living in that world that I actually like? Those are the 2 that at least come to mind. The other route you can take is fantasy, and just sort of like camp and acknowledging that it's a wackadoo setup and the people in it are not behaving as you and I would. It's basically like a fantasy romance, except that the fantasy world is exactly like ours, but the fantasy part is how people are responding to situations in that world, or like preposterous things happening. So like, I don't know, I feel like an Allie Hazelwood is more in that world. I love Mariana Zapata. I feel like she's kind of more in that route. Anything on Kindle Unlimited, I think, tends to be more on that side of things. So anyway, that tends to be more where I have success with contemporaries. And this kind of made me remember what I like about the route of actual realism or attempting realism. because the setups in here are kind of wackadoo, but her characters are so grounded and they respond in pretty rational, reasonable ways until the end, where there's always a miscommunication. Like, can we let go of the miscommunication being the third act twist? Let's have it be anything else. Now, granted, it quickly is resolved. Like, it's not, it's more like, I got my feelings hurt and took a little too long to get that clarified with you. But anyway. But all that to say, I'm trying to compliment this book. This worked. This is probably my first or second favorite in this little trilogy. So our main character is Gia, and she is an influencer. She is a Muslim character, and I think this is also a very good example of what I would describe as religiously conservative people in some ways, especially when it comes to like love, sex, marriage, dating, having a romance that still feels very sex positive by the end. She is an influencer. She's a beauty influencer. I think there's some interesting stuff in here about that. And she gets catfished by who she thinks is a Bollywood star from like a family of Bollywood stars. And yeah, it's just, Dev, he's adorable. I think they're both lovely people who respond to most things in reasonable ways and somehow find themselves in like a fake dating turned marriage, like kind of, it's almost like an arranged marriage story, but like they're doing the arranging kind of. And it just was delightful. I mean, the problem with this is it's too long. That I think is a function of the publishers. When they get these trade paperbacks, they want them to be a certain length. So I'm going to put that more down to the publisher than to Alicia, but it's really well written. Her characters are great, and I thought that this was a lovely delight. And if you can't tell, I have far more to say about this than I have about any of the books we've talked about so far, because I feel like I learned about something in my own perception of the genre, and I'm also these days just so excited when I have a contemporary that I enjoy. So I would recommend this. I really like this. Am I glad I held on to it? Yes, and I almost unhauled it. I probably would honestly, I might have unhauled this had it not been an arc that I did not ask for, but I still felt like whenever I get them, I want to try to read them unless it just totally doesn't end up happening. But anyway, I'm really glad I held on to this because this was a delight. So here's hoping we keep that same energy going for day 4. I found this yesterday when I was putting back the books when I was trying to find day 3. So day 4 is feeling like a hardback. The only hardback I can remember that's on there is The Good Wife, The Good Sister, that Sally Hepworth one. So maybe it's that, which would be good. I mean, that sounds like a nice palette cleanser, but I am reading a lot of my palette cleansers early in this project, so that kind of worries me. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. So this is Life and Code, A Personal History of Technology by Ellen Ullman. So this is a memoir. Yay. Okay, so this is not a palette cleanser, but you know, I'm letting my hair dry right now. Fed the kitties. Not quite time for dinner. I'm gonna settle in with this, eat some dinner, and I'll check back in with you guys tomorrow to let you know how it goes. Okay, good. I feel a little less worried that I'm just gonna end up with, by the end, only like hard to get through books. Hopefully I have a few more of these in this advent calendar reading weekend, because that I have time, so now would be a great time to get to some of those meatier books. Okay, just got back from lunch, well, brunch. Took Jolene out for birthday brunch, then we went to Novelette. It was a lovely day. I'm working on some stuff for the channel for the rest of the day, do a little filming, a little editing, we'll see, but I'll also need to fit in a book because I did not finish, I DNF'd my Life and Code, or Life and Code, A Personal History of Technology. This is very well written. Like, the prose itself is really nice. It's very well observed. It starts in the 90s and seems to be kind of working its way forward. It's published by FSG, which is Farrar, Straus and Giroux, I think. Yeah, Farrar, Straus and Giroux, which is sort of like a literary publisher. So books that I read published by them, I am unsurprised when the prose is really beautiful and it's a really well done literary kind of book, even if it's a memoir. And that's very much the vibe of this. There's nothing wrong with this. I just realized that it was too much shop talk for me. I work in technology, which is why I picked this up in the first place, but reading a full book of this, I just don't think is something I'm interested in. I got what I wanted out of it. I think the first 50 pages were interesting as sort of like a history of technology and also a history of like women in the workplace and women in technology. Very interesting. If you're looking for something like this, I would recommend it. I just don't want to read about it in my downtime, which I did not realize until I started reading it in my downtime. So DNFing this, but I would recommend this, and I'm not mad that I held on to this because I don't think I knew that I didn't want to read this until I started reading it. So, and I read like the first 50 pages, I think, so I got, you know, something out of it. So DNFing, but don't regret holding on to it. Now, today, day 5, is a mass market, and it's either a romance or it's the autobiography of Malcolm X. So we're about to go in either a very lighthearted direction or a very serious direction, and I don't know which one. Okay, I can tell by the font it's a romance, so that's good. Let's see which one. Ah, okay. So this is My Kind of Earl by Vivian Lorette, and I think this is a Pygmalion historical romance retelling. A blue stocking search for information on the mating habits of scoundrels has her stumbling upon the missing heir to an earldom in the London underground. Okay, well, that sounds so over the top and lovely. So this is not, and I guess this is 384 pages. Oh no, it's shorter than that, but this kind of mass market does not take me long to read, so I will very easily be able to slot this in today. Okay, not really. I mean, I'm you know, I had no way of knowing, but I haven't needed a long weekend for any of these books so far. So I guess I'm kind of disappointed I haven't gotten at least one of the chunkier ones. Maybe tomorrow I'll get like, I'm probably cursing myself. Tomorrow I'm gonna get like the Dandelion Empire King, whatever that Ken Leo one is. But anyway, so all that to say, so far these have not been hard to slot in, and this one should be very easy to slot in today. So another lighthearted one. I'll check in with you guys tomorrow to let you know how it goes. Okay, so before I tell you about how My Kind of Earl went, let's find number 6. Feels like a trade paperback, so there we go. Look, we're like getting through it, guys. We've gotten through, I guess this will make 6 of them so far. Fortuitous that this is number 6. Feels good at least that I'm chipping away at it, so to speak. So I DNF this one. It's not, I just don't know. It wasn't for me. So setup for this is the lady is doing like research, rakes, and her name's Jane. She encounters this like bad boy of the underworld named Raven. And I can't lie to you guys, I kept just thinking of That's So Raven, and that really, picturing Raven Simonier instead of this guy was not the vibe for what the story was trying to do. So I don't know, I read this yesterday. Looks like I got to page 120 before I gave up, and I just couldn't. He has like a birthmark thing, and it looks like a seal. And I think we had just found out, yeah, that it was the Northcott seal. I don't care. I'm not gonna finish this. It's not terrible. it's not holding my interest. So, DNF. Am I glad I held on to it? No. I could have just unhauled this one. So, goodbye. But, you know, I gave it the old college try, and that's what this whole project is about. So, going on to number 6. Ooh, okay. The Supper of the Lamb, a culinary reflection. I think that this is like about food and spirituality. And this has been recommended to me for a long time. This was a big one when I was in grad school. A lot of people were reading this. So it says, from a passionate and talented chef who also happens to be an Episcopalian priest, comes this surprising and thought-provoking treatise on everything from prayer to poetry to puff pastry. So yeah, okay, I'm looking forward to this little collection. And I don't think, you'll hear from me probably next month when I'm ready to do my follow-up, when I'm ready to pick the next book in a different way. But this is what I will read, so I'll check in with you guys about this one next month. Hello, welcome to April. I have an update here, which is I DNF'd this one too. The Supper of the Lamb, I can totally see why this was so hot at my grad school. Like, I'm thinking of the specific professor who was the originator of this recommendation, and it is so him. It is so him. This is a very theological consideration of how to make a meal. And the writing, I think, is nice, but it does not resonate with me. Basically, if you're looking for like a theology of food or a philosophy of food, I can see this working for you. It's in the Ruth Reichtel Modern Library of Food series. So it is, I'm not impugning its quality. It just isn't clicking with me. It's not what I'm wanting. So yeah, I got about 50 pages in and was like, I'm good. So we're gonna DNF it. It does have a bunch of recipes in it, so there's that as well. But I'm glad I at least like attempted to read this because, you know, I get it now why it was such a hot book that everybody was going on and on about. So DNFing this one, I think of those 4 from last month, we DNF'd 3 of the 4, but I did really love that 4th one that I read. So there you go. Okay, this month we are taking someone's suggestion to use one of the wheel apps, and I have, wait. Okay. I have excluded numbers 3 through 6 because I remember from last month that I picked those. So I know that those cannot be an option, but I don't really remember what the other numbers were. So I may have to respin if it doesn't work well. But spinning now. Okay, here we go. Number 9. Let's go see if I've already used that one. Number 9. Okay, I think that I've already done that one. I at least don't see it, so we're gonna try again. $26. Okay, let's see. Popping out for me right here. It's a mass market, so it's either the autobiography of Malcolm X or a historical romance, or just a romance in general. And it is the autobiography of Malcolm X. Okay, cool. Now, in terms of all the things I've got going on this month, this was probably a good month for me to pick this. So, thank you, Wheel Spinner. And this is our book for April.
2,000 years later.
I totally stalled out on this. So I think it's been months. And I think my lesson is trying to read serious nonfiction in physical form on demand is not something that is well suited to my reading temperament. So we are going to remove the autobiography of Malcolm X from this reading project because I think it needs to be a mood read, not a challenge read. So we're gonna try to get some momentum back, and I'm just gonna straight up, for my next one, I'm just gonna straight up go when I'm in the mood to pick something up and I have some time. I'm just gonna pick a random one based on its length and feel to read. So that will be the next one to try to get back on track and get some momentum going again.
Much later.
Hi. Today, don't know what to read. So we're gonna pick something random from the books we've got left. I'm thinking something like medium length-ish, like not too long, not too short. So we could do, I think these are all mass markets. I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna put that here because I think that's a little less than what I'm wanting to do. Okay. I'm feeling like a trade paperback. So I'm trying to like feel for something that is a trade paperback. I think that's hardcover. The nice thing is it's been so long that I've been doing this, I genuinely zero clue what's in here. Okay, this feels like a good sampling of the length I'm looking for. And I don't know, for some reason 15 is calling to me, so why not? Let's see what this is. Okay, no. So one thing I think I've already realized, well, okay, I'll try. I'm realizing the nonfiction has not been going well for me in this, so I'm skeptical. But I'll at least try, but I'm gonna pick a backup because I'm skeptical. This is my last round of books before we do our wrap up, so like, spoiler, one of my takeaways so far is that I don't think I do well with nonfiction in this format, unless it's like I'm specifically trying to learn a skill or I'm specifically interested in the topic. Just general random nonfiction mood reading in print form, I don't think is working for me very well anymore. Okay, so let's try again. I'm thinking either 11 or 30. And I like the bend on number 30. Is that what this is? Yeah. So let's see. Okay. I'm down for this. This is Rule of Capture by Christopher Brown. This is like a kind of like a speculative legal thriller. So it's like sci-fi, but with a thriller aspect, which actually sounds great. Like, this sounds fantastic. I'm very excited about this. Okay. Yay. So I'll try Horologicon, but I make no promises, but Rule of Capture, very excited for. Cool. Love that. Now I'm going to repack my books. I'm in a very like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this state for this project right now, I have to say, because I still have a bunch of books here. Like, I don't know. I probably easily still have half, if not more, of what I originally wrapped. I don't know what I'm gonna do for this going forward. Like, am I gonna keep these? Am I gonna unwrap them all? I don't know. So, something to think about for future me is what is end goal here? Like, what's end game? I don't know. But in the meantime, let's read. Hi, I'm back. I DNF both of these. Oh man. Okay, so the Horologicon. This was not at all what I thought it was going to be. This is basically using words that have expired from the English language, a series of paragraphs based on the time of day. And I just don't think that this is a book that is well suited to sitting and reading. I think if you are a bathroom book kind of person, though, this could be kind of fun. TikTok is my bathroom book, though, so, you know, I don't really need this, but it's a cool version of what it is, but not really book to read kind of all the way through. So I didn't know that, but now I do, and that's my feedback. I made it a good way through this, but the writing was not to my taste in terms of the dialogue, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic world where I guess the US lost a war with China, and so now it's like kind of society in the US is disintegrating, the justice system like is not justicing. Spoilers, it currently also does not justice, but like even more so than normal. There's like all these secret tribunals, and we're following this lawyer who's like, his whole job is to try to defend these people who are being wrongly accused of things. I think if the writing hadn't bothered me, I probably could have pressed through, but also just with the current state of the world in November of 2023, it's very dystopian and sad. And it's not gonna be a great version of that. I just don't think it's for me. So, not terrible, but I think I got about a third of the way through and was like, I only see myself giving this 3 stars. And if I'm not enjoying it, like if it's not mood-wise working for me, I think it's not good enough to continue. So I also DNF'd it. 2 more DNFs. Okay, here's where we're at. So at this point in this unwrapping project, I have unwrapped 14 books. Of those 14, one of them I do still want to read, but I don't think I can read it in the context of this sort of like set TBR. it's a nonfiction mood read, and that is the autobiography of Malcolm X, which I have put back onto my TBR shelf because I do want to read it. I just think that this project was not the right context to try to read it because, as we discussed when I picked those two books, I think one of my big takeaways from this is any nonfiction that I have in physical form, I need to really do an evaluation and some soul searching on my TBR shelf to see if I'm gonna read them in physical form. Because I think my takeaway from this is that unless it's, you know, like a how-to manual, like I've been buying a lot of nonfiction sewing stuff recently because I do find that in physical form very helpful for me to internalize what I'm supposed to be doing. So unless it's that, or it's a topic that I'm highly interested in reading about in the moment, like I'm trying to look for an example. Oh man. And a lot of these can probably go. But okay, A Problem from Hell. That is a book from, I think, the early 2000s about America's relationship to genocide. Very relevant topic in November of 2023, and something that I would, if I can't find it in audio form easily from the library, whatever, like I'm happy to read that with my eyeballs because I'm actively interested in the topic and will engage with it. I think if I can't though, I need to just be I either need to move them to reference, because I have some nonfiction things I don't want to get rid of, but I kind of just want to hold on to them for reference. Or I need to just go ahead and switch over to an audio. That's one of my takeaways. Another one of my takeaways is that I did actually the books that I finished, I quite liked. I finished 3 and I think my average rating on those was like 3.5 or 3.77. Like, I like the ones I finished. Of the ones I finished, what would I say my favorite is? Okay, JK. Now that I'm looking at this, the 3 that I finished, I gave The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth 3 stars and The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins 3 stars, but they were both thrillers that were well written. They were more like on the domestic suspense end of things, so they just weren't like my favorite trope sets, but I enjoyed them for what the kind of book they are. Like, that's the kind of mystery thriller book I'm happy to read and give 3 stars to, because it's just like a nice way to pass an afternoon or an evening, like just a light enjoyment. And both of them were well written, so I'm glad I finished those. And then First Comes Like by Alicia Ray is the book I like the best. I gave this 4 stars. I do want to mention that I know that this is a little controversial because of how much the main character's religion is incorporated into this, and some people resonate with that portrayal, some people don't. Some people don't want religion in their romance at all, like all of that. So just caveat, know that that is a component of this story. But I really like this, and for me, I was like, I think that this is a good example of how a religious character can still be in a book that still feels sex positive from like a evangelical romance background. Those are all so just like disgusted by the human body, basically, and human sexuality, that I actually found this refreshing, but it's not my tradition. It's not my worldview, so like take a caveat there. But anyway, all that to say, I gave this 4 stars. I actually really liked it. It's a little long, but other than that, I really liked it. So I'm very glad I held on to this because I ended up giving it 4 stars. But even aside from that, so the average rating of books that I finished was 3.33. Of the books that I have unwrapped, I am glad that I kept 58% of them. 58% of the books that I've unwrapped, I ultimately am glad that I held on to them because I think they were at least worth trying, even if they didn't end up being something I loved. So I actually think that's a pretty good hit rate. I have 16 books left that are wrapped, and I think where I'm at, because I'm looking at the list now of what I have left, I think that pretty much all of these are still worth trying. Yeah, like there's none of them that are standing out to me of like, oh, I should just go ahead and say I'm not going to read them. So I think what I might do with the remaining wrapped books, and you guys let me know what you think about this, is do another on the chopping block trying a chapter challenge where I try the first chapter, maybe 2, like up to 50-ish pages, and I decide, am I going to continue or am I not? Because I think that's kind of my takeaway, is that all of these books that I have left could be ones I like, but I need to just I need to get into them to find out if they're worth keeping or not. So I think that might be what I do with the remaining wrapped books I have. I think that could be I have liked doing, I did a couple of those this year, and it seems like you guys enjoyed that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about doing a try a chapter challenge with those remaining wrapped books, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, all in all, I was hoping to get through all of these this year, and that did not happen. Not surprising because I struggle to do year-long reading challenges. That is something I have learned about myself during my time on BookTube. So I'm not entirely surprised that I didn't get through them all, but I did not. But I do feel good that I have a plan for all of them, and I feel like this was overall pretty successful. So let me know what you thought about this challenge, what you thought about any of the books, and definitely let me know if you're into the idea of the chopping block, try a chapter situation, because I think that would be fun. You guys have liked the last ones I've done of that, so I'm assuming you're down for it. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!